as you're doing this breathing, and if you can take literally just a moment, get into a stressful situation, obviously the lion thing, don't bother with it there. But if you're in your work environment or somewhere where you're starting to feel stressed, you're starting to feel that constriction, if you can take even, like I said in the beginning, just 10 seconds to do one of those breaths, you'll immediately start to feel better. And it allows you, again, to get out of that fight or flight and be more present, be more cognitive, be more creative with how you're going to move forward, to learn more. And as a result, helps you deal with pretty much any stressful situation. I even know people that get really excited and they forget to breathe, they jump up and down. She's turning blue, oh my God, help her. Even then, breathe, because you're going to feel better. And if you're feeling ecstatic now and you feel better than that, well, go for it. I mean, great, you're going to feel better instantly when you do this breathing, because it helps, it's so cleansing. All right, once we've established that we can breathe and we can then move forward, and that allows us to slow down a little bit, acknowledge your fear. And I've already done this once tonight and brought it to your attention, but it's a very important thing to remember is that all of these emotions are really valid. They're real and they're happening. And that's a great thing to be aware of and to acknowledge for yourself, because that then allows you to kind of remove yourself, just like we did with the visualization of the door. Bring yourself out of it just a little bit and say, all right, what do I do now? I'm stressed, I'm feeling some fear, what do I do? Well, the first thing I recommend is get up. If you're seated, sitting at your desk or wherever, if you can move, movement is going to help all of those systems reorient, realign, re-energize, flow, get your circulatory systems moving. Just get up and do something, even if it's a quick walk out around the block or something. I mean, just a tremendous value in a very small amount of movement. And as you're doing that, this is kind of a big step, and we can, I could do a whole discussion for an hour of accepting responsibility for your life, but really what it boils down to is, what are you going to do next? What are you going to do next? Not what are you going to allow somebody else to tell you or allow some event to push you to do. What is it that you're going to do, you're going to decide to do to deal with that stress, deal with that fear, make a choice that moves you out of that particular stressful situation. And by doing that, you stop blaming yourself and others or events for where you are. You really do take responsibility for, okay, I'm here. And maybe it stinks, but all right, I don't need to blame anybody because that's a past thing. I was already in a future thing with the fear. I don't need to go to the past with the blame, because then kind of looking backwards, I'm still not here now. Come back to now. Be curious about, okay, what am I going to do next? Well, just be open. Oh, okay, well, this sounds like a good move. And that way you get all the judgment out of there. You learn to be more compassionate when you take the judgment out, and there's a whole progression of understandings and education that you can teach yourself by simply performing some of these steps. And it takes a while. It takes practice to really, every moment, of course, be in a perfect spot. And I don't know as anybody's ever gotten there, but some closer than others. And these are a great start. A biggie for me is avoid the inflammatory influences. And those are big words, but basically what I'm talking about primarily are the media. On September 11th, 2001, I was an airline pilot for United Airlines. And on that morning, I was supposed to fly out to Chicago and pick up a 4-day trip. My dad calls at about 9 o'clock, I think it was in the morning, and luckily it was a late report, so I wasn't getting up till about 10. And he says, turn on your TV and see what's going on in your world. And this is my dad's kind of brusque way of saying, dude, something important here, go take a look. So we turn on the TV. Both planes had already hit the towers, and within a short period of time, we watched the first one go down. And I get a chill right now because I just remember sitting there going, what just happened? I had no reference for that event. I had no idea that the building even fell down. I just knew there was this big cloud of smoke and dust and everything. Well, shortly after that, the other one dropped. And for the next 4 days, my wife and I sat on the couch and we watched the planes hit the towers from different camera perspectives, different angles, over and over and over again, literally 4 days. And on the 4th day, I finally said, oh, wait a minute, hello, honey, we gotta get out of here. And all we could do was get up, go to a restaurant for lunch, and come back home. And I don't remember if we turned the TV back on or not. But that was as much as we could get ourselves to do, because we were so paralyzed in this fear, this stress. I mean, there were so many questions running through my head. Am I ever gonna get to fly again? is it ever going to be safe to fly? You know, am I going to lose my job because my company's going to go out of business? All of these different things. And Shannon's sitting next to me thinking, oh my God, my husband's an airline pilot. That could have been him. Is he going to go back to work? How am I going to be when he goes back to work? I mean, it was amazing how sitting and watching it over and over and over just kept us locked into that really difficult place. And a lot of it's a blur, because again, I had no reference for what it meant for an airplane to hit a building and for it to actually fall down like that. But there was just, it's so powerful, and to think back to that, I hope that I never have a situation like that again in my life, but if I do, hopefully it'll only take me 2 days or less to get out and go get lunch. And that leads me to this one, which is change your focus. Do whatever it takes to get your focus onto some positive thing, and it could be the smallest thing. For us, the most we could do was say, oh, okay, let's go to a restaurant for lunch. That was as far as we could get, but it was enough to get us up, get us moving, again, moving our bodies, get some sustenance inside of us, a different environment. I mean, that's all we could focus on. That was as far as our focus could go ahead of us was, okay, 10 minutes away is a restaurant, we're going there. But that is so important to do that, because what you focus on is where your attention and your energy goes and what you are going to manifest. So if you're focusing on the fear, chances are the fear isn't going to go away anytime soon, and you may even create a harder situation within that fear, because now you're focusing on it so much you can't do anything. We already talked about the physiology of that. A great technique in a stressful situation, particularly the less stressful, I mean not like 9/11, this would help for that, but to stay within the airline industry, I have coached a couple of people who were totally afraid to fly, and what I had them do was work with me a little bit, but also whenever they get on an airplane, and now the one gal in particular can get on an airplane, I have her sit in what's called the whole brain posture. So if you would, do this with me, just cross your ankles, and then take your hands like you're going to clap, and you pass them by each other, and then turn them around and lock your fingers. And you can either put it up on your chest or just drop it in your lap. This is called the whole brain posture, and what this does is it crosses your limbs over the center line of your body, and what that does is it, very good, that'll work. It connects both halves of your brain together.
There you go.
Perfect. Great. And it connects both halves of your brain together so that you're operating from your fullest brain capacity, which means you're going to be able to deal with any stressful situation in a much more effective and comfortable way. It will seem less stressful. And that's why it's called the whole brain posture, because a lot of people you've heard to right brain, left brain people, the creative, the analytical. We'll put them both together. Creative and analytical has a lot more power than just one of the other two. So you can use that anywhere you can stand or sit. And like I said, this gal, she can actually get on an airplane now. She has to stay in the whole brain posture the entire time. I haven't talked to her in a couple of years, maybe she doesn't anymore, but at the time, that was the way she could get on the airplane and sit down and buckle in, and she did not move for the entire flight. Hopefully she never went to Europe or Hawaii. It's a long way to go without using the restroom.